Party on, dude! Today we are talking about the Bill and Ted 4K box set, or Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Trilogy from Shop Factory. Let's talk about this box set. First of all, I just want to show you this box here. Look at this gorgeous artwork here. That is incredible. I was very disappointed when they only put out Bill and Ted 1 on 4K, and I was very tempted to get it. I did not end up getting it, and thankfully I did not. Because they pulled a Star Trek on us, where Paramount, when they put out the first 4 Star Trek movies on 4K, they went back and did the other 2 when they should have just done all of them together at the same time. And this is a great example of that. I don't know why they didn't. I imagine the 4Ks for these were already ready to go, especially for this third one. I can't imagine there wasn't a 4K remaster sitting on somebody's shelf, because this movie literally came out like 2 years ago. So, 2 or 3 years ago. What year did this one come out? Like 2021? 2020. Oh, God. What a terrible time to be alive. Yeah, but these are great. So let's talk about these movies before I get into the 4Ks. Bill and Ted 1 is, I used to say Bogus Journey was my favorite. Mostly because of Death. I think Death is great. But rewatching this one, there's just something special about this first one you never could recapture. The humor and just the fun of these 2 idiots time traveling and picking up historical figures. The way it all plays out, there's just something special that humor in that, what they're able to do with it, can never recapture. This movie really doesn't have a plot. It really is just Bill and Ted traveling back in time, picking up historical figures to complete a history assignment. And it's pretty simple, and it allows the humor and the fun of it just to play out and play around with that. And it's really great at that, and I really love that. There's something simple and ingenious about it in a weird way. It's a really fun movie. It's kind of weird thinking about Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves doing the parts here. Well, not Alex Winter. I guess Alex Winter, yeah, it's fine. But really, Keanu Reeves, so many of these young people now, they just like, oh, that's John Wick. Oh, that's Neo. And then, when Bill and Ted 3 came out, I was showing people my age at the time. I was like a teenager back in high school. And they're like, that's Keanu Reeves? Yeah, it's Keanu Reeves. That's what he was. And they're like, they had no idea what Bill and Ted was. But, yeah, there's the 4K and Blu-ray. So, I don't know how well Bill and Ted translates to this next generation. I think maybe that third one didn't work as well. But I do think this first movie is a classic that still holds up and anybody can enjoy. Second one, I like this one. I think the biggest problem with this one in particular is that the plot of this movie is, it's a plot. Like, there's something ingenious about that first movie and how simple it is and how it just lets the humor play out. This one maybe had a little bit too much going on with like robots and different stuff, but it is funny. It's still fun. You got Death, who is a great addition to the franchise. He is really funny, and everybody has a lot of fun in it. And there's a bunch of fun new things in it. If you really love Bill and Ted, it's a good movie. Still, I think 3 is where things get a little bit messy for me. 3 is not bad, but there is absolutely way too much going on in this movie for no good reason. Why did the wives need a plot line? I'm not sure. I think maybe somebody in the writer's room thought it was funny, or maybe thought because they're doing this in the new generation, they had to like maybe give female characters more, to do in the story. But you already have Bill and Ted's daughters if you're going to do that. And then, so I just feel like, what are we doing here? And, some of it works, like going back in time, and there's like a Bill and Ted who are in prison, and one that's like pretending to be British. Like, that was funny. Some of those sequences are funny. But, overall, I say the movie's enjoyable. It's a nice closeout to the trilogy, right? Because most of the trilogy was talking about how Bill and Ted in the future, they're going to write this amazing song, and it's going to unite the world, and you never get to see that. Well, in this movie, you get to see that, and it's fun, and it's a great sequence at the end of this movie, I would say. as a closeout to this trilogy. Like, we don't need any more Bill and Ted movies, and I don't think this movie did well enough to justify one, especially since it released during the pandemic on digital or whatever. And I think, again, I'm not really sure how well Bill and Ted translates to this next generation. I think they're fun movies, but I'm not sure how well they translate. And so, yeah, Bill and Ted, great stuff there. Now let's get into this box set. So this is the same release that if you bought the single release of the Shout Factory set. Now here's the thing that bugs me. So they put the numbers here. This one is 139, and this one is 162 and 163. Why are the other Bill and Ted movies sitting next to each other in a box set with not aligned numbers? That is so bizarre. I get why, because Shout Factory probably had those numbers already in their line. I think Shout Factory for their Shout Select titles, which is this is like what the line is for these are in, needs to drop the numbers. I think the Shout Select line has so many movies that are not everybody will enjoy. Like, I only buy certain titles from Shout Factory because, yeah, I like Bill and Ted, but I'm not going to buy such and such. So I feel like it's really bizarre that the Shout Select titles. I feel like Scream Factory, there's collectors who like to buy every single one of those, and I understand putting numbers on those movies, but they don't necessarily put numbers on those. But they do for these, and I just feel like it's very awkward. I don't know. For me, I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, this is the same release, and so if you have that, there's no difference. You could also buy single releases of these if you already have this, but and it'd probably be cheaper than buying this box set, because if you get this box set, I paid about $80, which I think is a good price, because you get three 4Ks for about individually, and I guess it'd be $90 if you bought these individually, which you can do. $90, that's a little much, right? So 80 is a little bit more reasonable. They have tons of special features here. There is two audio commentaries on this one. Time flies when you're having fun. Theatrical trailer on this one. Basically same stuff here. And there's a little bit more on this one, but it's on the Blu-ray disc. These ones actually have it on the 4K disc. Yeah, on the 4K disc. But this one doesn't. And I think it's because this one was put out by MGM and Warner Brothers on Blu-ray, so they're just taking what was on that MGM and Warner Brothers Blu-ray, putting it here. And so all they did is just take the 4K remaster that was already on the shelf. So I think these are great releases. I think this is the best these movies have ever looked. Especially the first one. The second one still looks good. Third one, it's a newer movie, so it was automatically going to look good. So to me, I'm like less impressed. I'm just like, yep, that's how it would look. It just looks... It's a nice looking box set that has enough special features, gorgeous artwork. If you really love these movies, it is nice to watch them as a trilogy back to back. I watched for about 3 days. I watched one of these a day, and it was insanely fun. I had a great time. They're funny. They tie into each other really well, and I love Bill and Ted, so I think these are great. I recommend this box set if you're a Bill and Ted fan. Let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe.